Okay, welcome to the year-end review in 2021. I'm Chad Gesser. Thanks for joining me for this review. I've been doing this for a few years just to kind of memorialize the kind of work that I've been doing that year. It's fun to go back and kind of be proud of some things that I've been a part of and was able to pull off and help people out with and all that jazz. Um, I'm coming to you from a basement studio area, and really this is the culmination of all the work I've done the last 10 years. This is a space where I work on things and I do some instrumentation, as you can see here. Got a lot of things you don't see outside of the camera, but yeah, so let's jump into it. And every year when I do this end of the year review, I start with the I'm usually starting with the balloon drop because I filmed this at the end of the year, but before the balloon drop on December 31st. And what I mean by the balloon drop is I've been involved, partnered with the Owensboro Museum of Science and History for the last 11 years and to do a balloon drop. And we're going to do it this year. But last year we couldn't do it in person because of COVID. So I had done some work that summer in 2020 with the Owensboro Multicultural Festival about doing an online multicultural festival. And I took some of that knowledge and experience, and we did it with the museum for the balloon drop. So we did a virtual balloon drop. And what you see on the screen here is you see Executive Director Kathy Olson below me. And then on the other side over there, you see Chad Benefield in the tornado exhibit. And so what happened is that Chad and I met with Kathy at the museum, and in a day, and over a few hours, Chad and I went through the museum and filmed various segments. And we also had Mitch Lumen from the Evansville Museum of Science and History, Micah Perkins from Owensboro Community and Technical College, and Matt Alsbach from Owensboro Community and Technical College. They filmed separate segments, about 5 to 6 minutes long. And so then I took all that stuff together and pieced it together. And then at the very end of the video, the stream that we did online, I did a virtual balloon drop actually from this basement here. So it was really cool and went really, really well. I love going back and looking at it and just really pleased with how it turned out. And it's not because of the balloon drop, but after Chad and I filmed that day, he called me later and wasn't feeling well. Turns out he had COVID. So we filmed all this work together, and he had COVID, and I ended up having to quarantine on New Year's Eve. And Chad, as he's well documented on his social media and also in WBKR, he's had long COVID. He's really struggled with it. Thankfully, he's doing better, but I know it's been a tough road for him. He's a good friend of mine. I'm always thinking about how he's feeling, and I remember the first couple weeks of January, messaging him every day, see how he was doing. He was having a tough time with it. So, but let me give you an idea about this online stream we did. I'm going to show you just a tad bit. First thing I'm going to show you is me in quarantine, and no one knew at that time I was in quarantine. This year at the museum, but I'm so excited. The premiere is about to begin. Oh, fingers crossed everything works. See you in 2021. And it did worked well, worked fantastically. So we coordinated that stream as a live stream online, and the virtual balloon drop hit at noon, which is when we do the balloon drop at noon Year's Eve. So, and that is actually the next video, and I'll let you see just a little bit of this.
On this train, which is very colorful. So, in about 2 minutes, Mitch is going to begin, and I'm going to exit the train as we continue here at the Owensboro Museum of Science and History.
You know, it's kind of remarkable looking back on that and knowing that Chad, well, he wasn't really feeling bad at that time, but he had a great time with it. We had so much fun, and it was just unfortunate that he was sick. But Again, it went great, went well. And now, again, this year we're going to do it in person. And, and I'll record that and share that with everybody on my social media, and then on the year-end review in 2022. So something I also had done in 2020 was do more live stream events actually from this space. And I love getting really creative with some of these instruments you see here. I've got some more on this side. And I documented some of that fun that I have in 2020. And then I did another one in March of 2021. And I'll share just a little clip of that. So that shot is actually, there's a camera that was above me here, looking down to where I'm at right here. And I've rearranged some things since then. But yeah, it was just so much fun. I love doing that. And really, all the DJ work that I do kind of supports this kind of stuff. And it's just fun. It's such a pleasure to be able to have the opportunity to do some of that stuff. So that's a video on YouTube. But
this laptop here, which
I kind of walk people through it a little bit as well if anybody has any interest in some of this. And some people have contacted me because they're interested in electronic music and that sort of stuff. But so then we get into the DJ work here. This is the first wedding event I did in 2021, and this is at the Green River Distillery. And this next wedding event was out at White Chateau. Did about 3 or 4 events at White Chateau this year, and it's amazing that usually I do the ceremony and followed by the reception out there, and this is a shot for the ceremony. And I've got so many of the events I've done out there, I've got pictures like this. They're just remarkable. They're wonderful. Really good vistas out there. And then I believe this is in April. I did McLean County Prom. We did it at the Convention Center in Owensboro, and had a really big setup there, and they had a great time. We're going to do it again in 2022, already booked with them. They were all masked up. It was safe. You know, this is around the time that vaccines were starting to roll out, and looked like COVID was coming down a little bit. And so I went on vacation and came back. I know you love my tan in this picture, but this was, the first wedding event I did with no mask in like a year and a half. I was fully vaccinated with 2 shots. This is before booster shot. And man, people just had a great time. It was people that I knew, some family friends, and they had such a good time that we ended up having kind of an encore of sorts. I'm going to turn off that sound because it may be a copyright issue, but it was a wonderful time. It was a great way to kind of put COVID behind us and move forward. And of course, we know that we're not done with COVID, but at that time, things were looking much better. This is another wedding event I did at the St. Joseph Church across from Mount St. Joseph out in kind of towards Sargo area. First time I've been there. I did was at some venues for the first time, several places this year. This is from a wedding event with Haley Dunn, formerly Haley Houston. But I've done many events with them. She's a former student, and our families know one another. And these guys, her brother and her friends, we've had a lot of parties together, and they're a lot of fun to be around. They have such positive energy, and that was a hot day. I remember that day. This is a shot from the Daylilies Festival. Was back with the Western Kentucky Botanical Gardens this year, and I ran sound for this jazz trio, and I had a great seat. I love jazz, and these guys are fantastic. They're from Evansville area. And that night, I did a lighting installation, and this was something that was in the works for many months. Lauren Estrell, a good friend of mine, executive director there, contacted me in the early spring of 2020 about doing an event there with lighting, and I had some things I was working on at that time, and I said, man, this would be great. I'd love to do it. So I spent hours out there planning and kind of thinking about what I wanted to do. Also did a DJ thing as part of this. The sound wasn't as much a part of this as the lighting was. The lighting was the big thing. And these are some pictures that I took and my family took. And first event of this type, or first installation of this type, I think, at the Botanical Garden. And hope we can do it again. It was just beautiful. Such a great vibe. And it was the first of a couple of projects I did with the Botanical Gardens this year. And I'll show you another one here in just a moment. This is actually for the reception of Haley Dunn. This is at the Immaculate. And they ended up doing the ceremony and reception at Immaculate because we were supposed to do the ceremony out at the Botanical Gardens, and it was so hot that day and it was rainy, and we weren't able to do it. This is a camper that was given away by WBKR and their radio group in partnership with Holiday World. And I worked again with my good friend Chad Benefield. He brought me along for this event. And this was another event that was several months in the making. And we had some failures with the cheetah chase, and they had to get it fixed. And finally were able to do it. And man, it was fantastic. I ran sound, and I also ran video feeds for this. First time I've done that, and had to modify things a little bit than originally planned, but it turned out great. And so we had a video at the finish line of the Cheetah Chase. The Cheetah Chase is a water roller coaster. It's a racing. There's 2 water coasters and they race. And the event was, they held this over several months. People called into the radio stations and showed up the day of, and they raced one another in a bracket format. And the winner won that camper. And really cool stuff. And as I said, this is several months in the planning. So I had a computer that had a video feed from the finish line. I ran a camera from the finish line to where I was, and then we broadcasted this on a display that was on the platform, so participants could see who was winning. And then I ran the same feed at a viewing area for attendees that were watching. They could watch it on a big TV. So that was pretty cool, very cool. This was actually taken before Holiday World was open in the spring of 2020, and I'm sorry, of 2021. Trying to figure out what we were going to do, and we ended up putting the camera. If you're looking there at the finish line on the right-hand side, there's a post with a big fan at the top. I installed a video camera there and had it shooting down on the finish line, and then again that video was broadcast up to where we were. We initially got up on a big arm lift about 20 feet above the finish line, but the water from the ride was spraying up onto the camera, and it wasn't working, so we had to bring it down. And it ended up being just fine, and maybe even better. We had the video screening over here for attendees, family members of the attendees to watch down there, and my son got to be involved with me on this. He helped me load in and load out. These are the winners, actually. It was a half-day event of sorts, and it involved several different radio stations, WBKR, and there's like 3 or 4 other stations. They had done this competition all spring, and I mentioned my son. He helped me load in and load out, but they needed extra riders on some of these rides, and he ended up riding the Cheetah Chase about 15 times that day. And it's great, to bring my kids along with me to help out and give them a chance to be involved in some things, and more importantly, the quality time that we could spend together. This is another wedding event back out at White Chateau. Was out there about 3 or 4 times this year. Got a chance to do the Multicultural Festival in person this year, which was fantastic. And my kids got in the newspaper on the right-hand side there. Well, over there on the right-hand side of that picture, my daughter Jackie is braiding the hair of her aunt Michelle, and then in the foreground there, my daughter Cece with the glasses. They made the newspaper that day. We also had back the Flamenco Dancers of Louisville, and I got a short clip here that I'll let you see. I'm not sure that video clip gives justice to the professionalism and the quality of those dancers. Um, this is the second time we've had them, but one of the members is from Owensboro, and yeah, they're fantastic. They do a lot of variations of Latin dances, a flamenco, different versions of flamenco and styles. Pretty cool stuff. So that night, actually, after go forward here, that night after the multicultural festival, I did a class reunion of maybe Apollo. It was Apollo. I think it was class of 2010 maybe. And I was at the Home Builders Association. I think I did 2 or 3 events this year at the Home Builders Association. And then got a chance to visit a venue east of Bowling Green, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but did several barn venues this year. I did one in Rockport. One that I showed you earlier, I failed to mention, was in Grandview, Indiana. This is in east of Bowling Green. And it seemed like that there was one more that I did, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But got a chance to work again with Chad, and he was feeling a lot better by this time. But as I said, he's had long haul symptoms, and he still struggles with COVID symptoms. But still got a smile on his face. So much fun he's a good friend and fun to work with too. Such a professional. Makes it look so easy. And this is a picture from the reception there. We did the ceremony and the reception. Chad was actually the officiant of that wedding. He knows the folks that were in the wedding, and I know them a little bit too. But really classy feel this this reception and the woodwork of these barns. A lot of these places are really wonderful venues. Got good feel. And so then didn't get a chance to do football games in 2020, but we did in 2021 this year. Did about 6 football games with McLean County, and I've been doing this now for like 6 or 7 years. And we had a great time again. Almost got a penalty another time. I think it was the first game that I did. There was a referee back like in 2018. I played a Jeopardy theme when they were trying to figure out what they were doing, and he threatened McLean County team with a penalty if I didn't stop playing that. Well, it happened again. It happened again this year, first or second game. But we had so much fun. I do, and they do as well. It becomes a really big event. So I mentioned working with botanical gardens on several occasions this year. So I got so enamored with the botanical garden after working on the Daylilies Festival that I went back out there and I knew I wanted to do something. So I took my drone out there and took my cell phone camera with a gimbal and shot some shots. And this is something I've developed over about 4 months. Took about that much time to think about it and put it all together. And then I put together a 4-minute video and I've scored it. I produced the sound down here with this equipment. And not too long, as I was finishing this up, unfortunately, a friend of mine lost her son in a motorcycle accident, a really good friend of ours. And another friend of mine passed away with COVID. And I ended up dedicating this. This is such a beautiful piece. And it brought me such joy to make it. I wanted to memorialize this as part of their passing, and then just as a kind of an offering up for all those people that have struggled. I know many people that have struggled with COVID, and some people have lost family members. Excuse me. So I'm going to show you just a quick clip of this, give you an idea. This is up on Facebook as well. Give you a sense of what it's about. What I wanted to do is I found myself when I was out there in the summer planning for that Daylilies Festival. The thing I've noticed about a botanical garden, if you don't visit it for a couple of years, it grows. I mean, it's trees and flowers and various things, and it grows. And I hadn't been out there in a couple of years, and I was just enamored with it. And there was just such a good vibe from it that I wanted to go out and capture that. And that's why I do this kind of work, is the vibe. It's a big part of it. Certainly a major, major part of the creativity of it. Really, positive things from it, and music and sound and lighting and all that jazz. And technology is part of that certainly as well. And I'm just really proud of this video that I put together and the soundtrack to it. Um, Hope to be able to come up with something like that again in 2022. Really fun to do that kind of stuff for sure. All right, so moving forward here, this is from a 16-year-old birthday party. 16-year-old birthday party I did at Miller House with Gary Kirk and his daughter and family. First time I've been out there, and was glad to be able to be there. I've thought about going out there a few times. This is from Farmer and Frenchman over in Henderson. First time there this year, and that might be the place that I forgot about, the fourth barn type venue. And this is Seth and Emily. Seth and Emily actually worked on the videography and photography for the Ward wedding that was east of Bowling Green. But I did their wedding, and they're such sweet people, and such a great vibe out there, and wonderful, wonderful time with them as well. There's always something about a couple of clients that I work with. Everybody has something really special about them. Sometimes it's many things, and it's just a great thing to be a part of. This is another football game, and actually, there was another McLean County football game. They got the rights to me. I contract with them, and I don't contract with anybody else. But I did their homecoming after this particular game. And what I really like about this is that there were restrictions with the high school, so they were not able to do it in the school. So some parents got together and wanted to do something for the kids, and they rented out this gazebo area, this shelter area, and I think it's Meyer Park in Bowling Green. It's just down the street from the high school there. So I did the football game, loaded up and went and set up, and then we did their homecoming that night. So that turned out really great too. I want to show you just a quick clip here. I'm going to turn the sound off again because of copyright issue, but what I noticed this year, more so in the past, is that people really were excited to be at an event because so much was shut down in 2020. So yeah, it was great. One of like almost 10 events I did with McLean County this year, actually. I'm back at White Chateau. Again, it's great working out there with those folks. The first wedding that I've had at Botanical Gardens this year. I was scheduled to do a ceremony there, but as I mentioned earlier, it was too hot and rainy that day, so we couldn't do it outside. But this one was a little cool that day, I think. It wasn't too hot; it was cool, and then I set up under the gazebo for the reception. Beautiful, beautiful event, fun event. They always are. Back out at McLean County, this is their Sadie Hawkins, and this was at a different venue there. They moved this one indoors because they couldn't do it at the high school. They rented out a place. I think it was at their ag center, and again, we lit it up and had a great time. Was glad that those kids were able to enjoy some dances. I know a lot of schools still aren't doing dances because of COVID. And you can do them as long as you're safe about it. Again, those dances were before the Delta variant. As things ramped back up, and a lot of the COVID had tamped down. This is an event with Wendell Foster Center Special Needs Expo. And Sean, I can't remember his last name, has a TV show, but he was a guest speaker, and I had a front row seat. He gave a good talk about being inspired, about believing in yourself, and that you can achieve it if you want to do it. And I just can remember him making eye contact with me coming to the side of the stage. He did several things during this event. He emceed a fashion show, and it was just so encouraging and positive. And that's his mom right there working his presentation in front of me. But that's what are the years? That's the third or fourth time I've worked on a Special Needs Expo with Wendell Foster Center. And this was kind of a last minute thing. This is working with Pure Bar over here, Westland Park Plaza, not too far from where I live. I've been wanting to do something like this. This was a birthday party, but they also did Pure Bar for like an hour, so it was really upbeat, and also made me realize I need to get back to the gym. But hopefully we could do some more. I could do some more work with them. I had some ideas about doing lighting in there and that sort of thing. And you can see we achieved some of that. They had some lighting on their own, and that was cool to do that. First time doing something like that. And then to wrap up the season, wrap up 2021. Except I've got the New Year's Eve, December 31st of this year still. This is with Josh and Caitlin at the Bluegrass Museum. First time there. And I've got a new setup, actually. It's a bit of a modification in that DJ table. But very similar to what I've done in the past. And here's another picture of the reception there. And some of the better weddings are Christmas weddings. Got a chance to play some Christmas music along with what they were doing for the reception. So that wraps up 2021. Thank you so much for watching and sharing some of this with me. Thanks for having me along. And thank you so much for having me along and supporting this work. And I look forward to seeing people out in 2022, okay? Be careful. Take care. Thanks.